Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Sea Wolves Report. I hope you have something delicious with you to enjoy here at the start. Shall we go? 3, 2, 1. Ooh, nice coffee for me, by the way, today, just in case you were curious. So, bad news, I guess, this morning. Really sad to see that our fearless leader in the Vendee Globe has unfortunately run into some trouble with his foil. Last night the news broke that yes, Charlie Dalin on APIVIA most likely hit something in the water, some unknown floating object or UFO as we have come to call them. And yeah, unfortunately the damage seems quite extensive. Charlie immediately turned the boat, slowed the boat down basically to try to assess the damage and see what is what, and hasn't really put the boat back into the wind yet. As of now, no news as to you know, if he possibly needs to abandon, or you know, what the situation is going to be moving forward. His team and him are you know, working around the clock, of course, to see if a solution is possible that will allow him to you know, continue the race, perhaps a little bit like Thomas Rouillan on LinkedIn did before. As he also ran into something in the water, but was able to remove a section of the foil and thereby, you know, making it possible for him to continue the race. Let's hope that Charlie will be able to do something similar, but for now the situation kind of is what it is. So if we quickly switch to the tracker here, so we can very clearly see here, you know, the situation right now, the difference in direction. So yeah, because APIVIA fell out, of course, LinkedIn so far the fastest of the two was able to capitalize almost immediately. He was only about 60 something, I think 65 or 67 miles behind. So, you know, merely 3 hours or so, you know, based on the speeds that these boats are hitting. And so it only took him about 2.5, 3 hours to essentially overtake Charlie after this happened. And so now in first position, Thomas Rouillan, and very close to him, Yannick Besthave, also doing amazing speed. So they're more or less matching each other, you know, jibe for jibe. And if you look at the greater situation, you know, they're more or less in an equal place. So I would say that even though Thomas is, you know, formally in number one, they're more or less in the same position. Thomas is a little bit more to the south, but eventually, of course, at some point they have to go north again, and then Yannick would have the advantage. So it's so-so, but we'll see how that develops over the next 24 hours or so, and if any one of them is able to really sort of put himself, you know, put some significant, like a 30, 40 or, you know, 60 mile lead between the two of them. Currently 19 miles, so, you know, just barely out of viewing distance, I guess. So very, very close racing there, and that might get interesting. You know, might be cool to follow. Maybe if they get in viewing distance, they'll, you know, release some video of actually seeing each other. That would be really cool, I think. Just to think, you know, leaving from France for the Southern Ocean, and then you find yourself racing in viewing distance of each other 3.5 weeks later. That says something about the competitiveness of this boat and how much it's up to the sailor.
Look who we found. Damien Séguin Apicil. And then look who we found. Bureau Valley, Louis Burton. Here, Water Family, Benjamin Dupro, Jean Le Cam. Yes, we can. Il y a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bateaux. 5 bateaux ensemble. C'est complètement fou ça.
But yeah, very unfortunate, and as we can see, Charlie basically stopped in place, hasn't really gone anywhere, so that at least gives us a big clue that you know, there are no plans yet to abandon or anything. They're just assessing their options, and yeah, I hope we'll have some kind of update on that soon. Then for the rest of the pack, we can see here all nail-bitingly close to the ice gates, and you know, of course here Isabel, Joschke. We have well, the three gens here just so close to each other that they can barely differentiate. So we have Jean Le Cam here. We have, I think, Boris on board of Sea Explorer, and we have Benjamin Dutroux here. Really, really cool to see that they're all so close together. It's just amazing. And interestingly, you know, Boris just released a nice video talking about, well, actually showing that he's fixing the hydro generators that we spoke of yesterday. So let's take a quick look.
The hydro generators. So this is the cassette where it sits on the back of the boat. The bottom one here ripped off, and the top one is still intact. The top one, which is intact, ripped the car apart. That looks pretty ugly. And the bottom one, which ripped off, left us with a good car. So luckily, I have the whole cassette and 2 cars in spare. So I only need to remount this, and then it can slide back onto the rail on the back of the boat. The only problem is that also the port side is broken. This one here too. And therefore I need to also repair 1 car at least. Okay, that's my project for now. Cheers.
So the weather for them looks more or less the same as what I talked about yesterday. Relatively light weather, so they're gonna have, you know, 10, 12, sometimes 15 knots. As they continue a little bit more south, they'll get a little bit more, but it's still not going to be much more than 15 knots at the most, you know, for the next 2.5 days or so, looks like. And so, yeah, some calm sailing for that whole group, and yeah, very interesting that Jean Le Cam still in 4th position. And if, of course, this continues and really significantly slows down Charlie, then he's going to go into 3rd position. And a little birdie told me that likely we're going to hear maybe later today or tomorrow about the time allowance situation for the whole rescue with Kevin Escoffier. And so it'll be very interesting to see how that's going to influence the ranking, especially for Jean, because he, of course, invested a lot of time in this rescue. A difficult task for the jury, really, to figure out exactly what to allow there, as it's so hard to judge all the different factors and everybody's different roles, and then find some kind of fair verdict for that, where you have millions of people watching this who all have their own opinion about it. So if it's too much, a lot of people will get upset with, you know, who are big fans of the gents who are in front. If it's not enough, you know, everybody else will get upset. So a difficult position, I think, for them. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what he will ultimately be allowed. Then we have Maxime Sorel. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I'll dig into that actually later today. He seems to have slowed down also a little bit, though I didn't get any reports of any damage or anything on board, but perhaps I missed that somewhere. And yeah, seems to be not really moving forward much, doing 9 knots, like he got sort of took a wrong turn somewhere and got maybe a little bit stuck. I'm not sure what happened, because he was kind of close to the rest of this group here and suddenly fell behind. So more on that perhaps tomorrow. And then we see kind of the rest of the middle of the fleet. So here again, Clarice Kramer, and we have Roman Athanasio on board Pure Best Western. Both doing, you know, pretty well. Good average speed, not too fast. They're all in this kind of slower, lower wind situation. L'Occitane, again, relatively fast again, so he's found some better wind. He's also in, you know, 15, 17, 18 knots of wind, and he seems to be really kicking it at wind speed or slightly over, which is cool. So he's doing 17.5 knots right now and 18.3 over the last 4 hours. Little slower on his 24 hour, but yeah, seems that he's picking up the pace again. So that's good. Good to see, I guess. Let's see what his total. Yeah. So he won about 100 miles again on the leaders. Went from 1750 nautical miles behind to about 1650. So gained a little there, I guess. Still doing his thing. Let's see how it. You know, if this kind of light winds, you know, will favor him over the next 2-3 days. And if he's able to, you know, gain a similar amount of miles every day, maybe 90 to 100 miles every day, that would be pretty impressive if he's able to sustain that. And then a little further back, we see that Pip now in good wind. So that's kind of nice that at least for a little while now, they're going to have a pretty good ride. Let me actually put on the projected line for her and let's see how this weather moves. Kind of nice to see. Because I think that for at least the next 24 hours or so, she's really good. And seems that she's also aiming a bit more north, so doing exactly what we talked about yesterday actually. So that's interesting to see. And yeah, we see this high, you know, approaching from the back. And yeah, so the plot also shows, you know, wisest to move to the north and take that more upper flow. And that seems to be what she's doing. And more importantly, it seems that she's going to be able to succeed in that. Because yesterday I was still a little bit doubtful whether she'd be able to kind of make that hop so that she'll end above that high pressure and actually be able to move kind of through that a little bit more northerly stream. But it seems now in the plot today that this is possible, that she's actually going to make it. And that puts her on quite a fast track with 25 knots for the next 20 hours or so, and then moving into this nice area where yeah, so 16, 17, you know, not the maybe 25 knots that she'd prefer, but 15 knots is enough wind to really you know, you put up a bit more sail and you can still get a lot of speed out of the boat. So that's very nice to see. And so far, you know, latest 4-hour average also 18.1, same speed as Armel Trip-On more or less. So right now Pip is doing really well and actually overtook, because she's kind of battling with I think it's yeah, Di Da Costa. They've been kind of battling each other, you know, in view of each other for the race, pretty much the whole race so far. And he'd been ahead of her several times, but now she's ahead of him again. So that's kind of nice to see that she kind of overtook him a little bit and that battle is still very actively going on. So that is nice to see. And then let's take a look at the back end of the fleet. And yeah, really sad to see for Jeremy Bijou, because yeah, he chose a bit a northerly path, and that put him square in the middle of this developing high. So he's trying to get over it also, and so I think later in a few hours it's gonna get a little better for him. Let's actually put on his course line also and take a little bit of a look. But right now he's stuck in the middle of this high with a very low boat speed, and yeah, looks like, oh yeah, okay, so by the end of today, but I mean like 12 o'clock at night, so that's still, you know, right now we're talking more or less the next 10 hours or so, he's going to be fully inside of this high pressure. And so yeah, it must be a real bummer, because his boat speed right now 2.6 knots. That's like, that means that he's really completely stalled. So that's really too bad for him, while actually Kojiro Shirashi doing 11.2 right now. So he took a slightly more southern course, and you know, still has some speed at least for now. So he passed everybody, but a little bit more north, and now kind of stuck. So yeah, that's really too bad. And all the way in the back of the fleet, we have Ari Husela, still making his way on board of Stark, with well, right now doing about 6.5 knots, 7.5 over the last 4 hours, and he's also already quite enveloped in this building high pressure area. So yeah, I don't think that he's going to be doing a lot of catching up. So I'll see actually if we can do a little bit of a special maybe soon on Ari, just to put the underdog in this race a little bit more in the spotlight. I think he's getting close to deserving it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Shall we do like a little bit of a special on Ari some point later in this week? I think that could be fun, right? And that's more or less it for the analysis of the situation right now. And so that brings me to the show tomorrow, because I'm working right now on a technical special. So all the ins and outs, the technical stuff around the AC-75, the America's Cup boat, because they're very, very interesting boats. Technically, they're very, very interesting. And so tomorrow we're going to do that show. Tomorrow is going to be all about a technical analysis, similar to what I did with the Moccas at the start of the Vendee Globe. So we're going to do a bit of a deep dive and really get into the nitty-gritty details of these amazing boats. So absolutely don't miss tomorrow's show, because that's going to be a real nerd out for all of us sailing nerds. So I'm really looking forward. I found out a lot of really cool stuff, so I'm really looking forward to share all of that with you guys tomorrow. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you want to become a backer, a supporter, please go to the website seawolvestv.com, where there is lots of different ways for you to contribute and help me make better videos, while also getting you lots of cool Sea Wolves stuff. So I will see you all tomorrow with a delicious fresh cup of coffee.